Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello class, how are you? I'm Ratib here. I hope you will be fine with your good health and with the blessings of Allah. So, dear class, today we'll talk about reflected meaning and stylistic and social meaning. And dear class, we know very well that semantic is in the field of linguistics. So, semantic related to the field of linguistics mean to say semantic looks at these relationship in language and looks at how these meaning are created, which is an important part of the understanding how language works as a whole. So we can say that the semantic looks at these relationship in the language and looks at how these meaning are created, which is an important part of understanding how language works as a whole. So we can say understanding of how meaning occurs in language can inform other subdisciplines such as language acquisitions to help us to understand how speakers acquire a sense of meaning, and also talk about the sociolinguistic, also talk about the stylistic and the social meaning of linguistic. So, as the achievement of the meaning in the language is important in language in a social situation. Semantic is also informed by the other subdiscipline of linguistics such as morphology and understanding the words themselves in integral of the study of their meaning and other contextual meaning. So we can say is syntax, which research is semantic usually extensive to reveal how meaning is created in the language and how language is structured in a center to meaning. So we can say that in semantic, and semantic revolves around the study of meaning. Mean to say lexical semantic, mean to say referential semantic, I mean to say another subtypes and the approaches towards the semantic and towards the meaning. So here we got the point. Semantic looks at these relation in the language and looks and how these meaning are created. So how meaning created in a language, which is important part of the understanding how language works and how meaning works in a language. So today we'll talk about what is reflective meaning and what is stylistic and social meaning. We know very well that how speaker acquire a sense of meaning in society, how speaker acquire a sense of meaning in sociolinguistic, and as the achievement of meaning in language important in language in a social situation. So if you achieve the meaning in a language, you can communicate each other, you can communicate in a convenient way. So let's dear class, let's talk about what is reflective meaning and what is stylistic and social meaning. Reflective meaning, you know that a word can have more than one conceptual meaning or multiple conceptual meaning. You know very well the words change from the meaning of the word change from society to society and from tradition to tradition and from the various situation, from various immediate experiences. If you interpret one meaning for the another, it is known by the term reflected meaning. So reflected meaning mean to say if you interpret one meaning for the another, it is known by the term reflected meaning. In such cases, while responding to one sense of the word, you partly respond to another sense of the word too. For example, in church service, the Comforter and the Holy Ghost refer to the third person of Trinity, according to Leach. So we here got the point that in a reflected meaning, if you interpret some meaning for another, it is known by the term reflected meaning. And for example, here we give the example: the Comforter and the Holy Ghost refers to the third person of Trinity. And if we talk about this, is talk about the sense of meaning. And the basic example is comforter and ghost are the religious words. They have both religious and general meaning. Keep in your mind, ghost, comforter, and ghost are religious words. They have both religious and general meaning. But unconsciously, even in religious context, you may interpret these terms by their non-religious meaning. You may feel the comforter sound warm and comforting while the Holy Ghost sounds awesome or even dreadful. So Comforter and ghost in the example, both religious and general meaning, and you may feel the comforter sound warm and comforting while the Holy Ghost sounds awesome or even a dreadful. One sense of the word seems to rub off on the another, especially through related frequency and familiarity. A ghost is a more frequent and familiar in no religious sense. In poetry, to you have reflected meaning as in following lines from fatality. So the word fatality in poetry you can use in a different sense in different ways. Our limbs so dear achieved our sights. This is one example. Full nerved still, warm too hard to stir. The poet Wilfred Owen uses the word dear in the sense expenses, but you may feel in the context of the poem the sense beloved. So we can say the poet Wilfred Owen uses the word dear in the sense expensive, and you may feel in the context of the poem the sense beloved is also alluded. In such cases of multiple meaning, one meaning of the word pushes the other meaning to the background. So we can say that through the background and through the pushing of another meaning, so the sense may be changed, so the situation may be changed, and so the interpretations of the meaning change. So we can say this is a very important point. So we can say that the meaning can be changed from situation to situations, from background to background, and one meaning can push to another meaning, so the situation may be changed. Then the dominant suggestive power of that word prevails. This may happen because of the relative frequency of familiarity of the dominant meaning. So this dominant meaning which pushes the other meaning at the background is called the reflective meaning. So another definition of the reflective meaning here, this may be happen because the relative frequency of familiarity of the dominant meaning. So the dominant meaning which push the other meaning at the background is called the reflective meaning. So here we relate another expressions and other examples about the reflective meaning. Reflected meaning relates to the expressions with multiple meanings. Words with several meaning like polysemious words having reflective meaning. There is however a dominant meaning among these several meaning as a particular sense of the word begins to assume prominence. All other sense begins to be de-emphasized, and with the time these other sense disappear. Meat used to refer to all forms of the food and flesh for nourishment. The latter meaning seems to have caught on. So reflected meaning relate to expressions with a multiple meaning. We know very well that meaning can be changed from situation, from context, from any reliable source. So we can say that meaning can be changed from situation to situation, and from society and traditions, and from disparities, and from and other kinds of situations. So here meat used to refer to all forms of food and flesh for nourishment. The later meaning seems to have caught on. Now we'll talk about stylistic, I mean to say social meaning. How meaning change from society to society, how meaning change in us social conditions. So we know very well that meaning may be changed from any situations to any. For example, one meaning is giving another meaning. One meaning due to the pushing of another meaning having a different connotations, having a different interpretations, maybe in different society, maybe in different ideology, maybe in different situations. Language is spoken in a society. This is obvious, this is very clear. This is mean to say the language is the mean of communications, and how to communicate, and which situation you want to communicate. You communicate in a society. So without language you can't survive in this society. So it is quite natural the language gives clue about the society in which it's begun spoken or social context which it is spoken. The meaning conveyed by the piece of language about the social context of its use is called the social meaning. So the meaning which we use in a social context, in a society, this is called social context of the meaning and the social context meaning. So the decoding of the text is dependent on our knowledge of stylistics. So we know very well that stylistic is the branch of linguistics which talks about the style in a language, and other variations of language we recognize some words and pronunciation as being dialectical, telling us something about the regional and social origins of the speaker. So here we came to the point the stylistic or a social meaning. So stylistic is a study of style in a language, and social meanings mean to say the word and the meaning which are speaking in a society through a specific context, that is called the social meaning. And the style discuss about the style of social meaning in a society. We recognize some words of pronunciation as being dialectical, as telling us something about a regional or social origin of the speaker. So we can see that the word have different connotation in different region and in different social origin of the speaker. Social meaning is related to social situation which an utterance is used. It is concerned with the social circumstances of the use of the linguistic expression. So, social meaning have a concern about the social circumstances of the use of linguistic expression. For example, some dialect words inform us about the regional and social background of the speaker. So, we know very well when a person is speaking, we know very well how he is speaking and which dialect is going to be used. So, some words specifically uh, indicates the notions of the words and the meaning. In the same way, some stylists use let's know something of the social relation between the speaker and hearer. So we can history of English literature. We can read history of English literature, and many artists having a different style in a different society, having a different style and having different connotations of the words in different genres. The following socio-linguistic variations are listed by Leach. Dialect, the language of geographical regions or social class. Time deals, the language of 18th century. Provence, language of law and of science and advertising. Status, polite, colloquial, slang or language. Modality, language of memoranda, lectures like jokes. Singularity, the style of Dickens and Hemingway mean to say. So Leach give us a socio-stylistic variations, mean to say dialect, mean to say time, mean to say province, mean to say status, modality and singularity. You may utter a sentence in a social situation as a request, an apology, a warning, or a threat. Such social situations are known by the term illocutionary force. The illocutionary force of an utterance also can have a social meaning. For example, in sentence, I have not got a knife has the common meaning in isolation, but the sentence uttered to be waiter mean a request for a knife. Thus, we can understand that the social meaning play a very vital role in the field of semantics and understanding the utterance and sentence in different contexts. So, we can say social meaning is very important in the field of semantics, and we know very well that semantic deals a study of meaning and socio contextual study of meaning. When a particular pattern of speech, language, variety, or speech form associated with a specific social context, style and social meaning is achieved. It is common knowledge that the speaker choose of words and structure reveal his and her social, regional, geographical, and even economic background. The choices can also reveal the level of familiarity between the speaker and the hearer, and also emphasizes usually on the different styles variations open to language users. Based on the level of familiarity, users have the following possibility in making requests. So here is the sentence example. I wonder if I could see you later today. Indirect questions used for the extreme politeness. May I see you later today? Very formal. Can I see you later today? Casual and less formal. So, dear class, today we talk about socio and stylistic meaning. In our next lecture, we'll talk about another aspects of stylistic. Thank you so much.